can you talk about how you feel about doing this?
Oh, I love it.
So talk about what your style says about you.
Can I tell you a little about my history, who I am? Okay, I was born in Vienna, Austria, and in 1938 my father exported me to Argentina with my mother. It was 6 months before Hitler was using Jewish women to clean John's or the street in their fur coat, and I became a freelance journalist. The moment they see Life, she's the greatest photographer of the history of Life magazine, and that's all bullshit. I came to New York in 1960 because I had covered something in Chile. I fell in love with a Time and Life man, and then he got cold feet and didn't want to marry me. I was contemplating jumping off the Empire State Building.
Really? For real?
No. But I said, okay, I'll jump off. And then I was on a picnic with an architect friend of mine from Austria, and his wife, who was a wild one, sexually. She said, I know a man, and his wife just left him. He's a little wild. So I said, okay, invite him for coffee. So here comes this man, a mixture of Charlie Chaplin, Schweitzer, and Einstein. 1 year later, I married him and had a great marriage for 25 years. When he died, when he was dying, he had a stroke. I filmed 8 hours of his death. What he was telling me, he was angry with me, he was not angry, he was loving, because he was in pain. He was 83, he was suffering, and I facilitated, because at one point he said to me, no more water. And if you don't drink water, being in this frail, completely frail, dying, that does it. Well, there's all kinds of mourning, but there's a lot of bullshit in mourning. The more guilty you are, the more you mourn. You know, these families who have Thanksgiving and then they could kill each other after Thanksgiving. The society we live in is kaput. It's not anymore real feelings, real mourning. I mourn by being happy about something. The Irish know how to do it. Celebrate the death. They have it in the living room, not at the undertaker who charges you 20,000. I'm 88. I'm really 87, but I make myself 1 year older. I don't want to look younger or be younger. I like to be 1 year ahead. So recently I had a ripped little earlobe and I went to fix it and I said, how much would it cost to do this? And he said $15,000. So of course I would never do it. I only wanted to know the price. Wouldn't it be nice if every spring we would look better? Just like leaves falling in the fall, and then everything is dead, and then spring and all is beautiful and new. That would be lovely, but it doesn't happen. I'm only saying dying when the time comes, you know?
Yeah.
I'm not going to pressure it and die before my time, although I believe in suicide and all that bullshit of the families don't want somebody to die and keep her alive or him. I mean, it's bizarre.
Explain to me what you feel your style says about you.
My style is no style. I become more primitive by the moment because I'm more and more in disagreement with what is happening. I have a solution for world peace. I would take the Queen Elizabeth, put every politician on it and sink it in the Atlantic. Okay.
What assumptions people have about you based on your style?
Right now I have hundreds of people who would like to get me on that fucking Facebook. And I am on it because I want to see what the children of my friends are doing. I can't answer all these people who want to be my friends. I believe what is so sad is that one doesn't keep up with old friends, and you gather all these people who want to really know your friends. I haven't figured it out yet. I wrote a letter to this creepy owner, and he has
Facebook?
What?
of Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg?
Yeah, I wrote him. I had my birthday in Vienna, November 19th. The first thing they all did, my friends and some others, they exchanged cards, networking. I don't want to have 10 new friends. If I like somebody, yes, but that's something else. We are living in this crazy period of superficiality. You see, old people always say, oh, it was so wonderful in 1920, let's say, or in 60, and it was. I could approach Miles Davis, I hung out with Louis Armstrong, I could photograph Kennedy like this, and that's impossible today. There are 1,000 photographers doing the same picture.
What would you say is the biggest struggle that you've had in your life that you've turned into a strength?
I didn't have much struggle. I grew up in a nice way, only child. My parents were so in love that they kindly neglected me. I had a profession at 14 in an art shop. I was illuminating French erotic gravures. So my sex life started at 14, and then I got married at 23, and I was a virgin at 23, because my father used to say, any man who does something to you, I'll kill. 4 years later, we had enough of each other, but kept to be friends. Life is not going that way. There are ups and downs, money-wise or disappointment with somebody. If you don't get that feedback of these two important people, father, mother, you have problems. And if you're lucky and have a great analyst at that time, then you're okay. But the great analysts are all dead. But then if you have the strength, you get out of it. So inner strengths come from having been treated well as a baby until the age of 10. After the age of 10, it's over. If you haven't gotten it, then you have to struggle more.
What was your greatest achievement?
To become 88. Look, I never think about things happening. I sat down on the front porch of the house, and I had a little trouble with my back, and I had a little operation. And then at one point I was diagnosed with cancer, breast cancer, which I have a feeling never happened. Well, they make mistakes by diagnostics, I had a feeling it was just a benign thing, but I was radical and I removed my breasts. And I could have had it corrected, I wouldn't have had a reconstruction, because at 88 I don't have a sex life. I'm so happy to be alone. I wouldn't want somebody in my bed right now. All these bullshit doctors with their, let's invent a drug for this and for that. That's all bullshit, it's business. The first thing I do in the morning is put my war paint on. I favor right now the look of a madame in a whorehouse. And green hair, maybe a little lipstick, because now recently only I have all these little lines coming down vertically. And if I use red lipstick, it doesn't look too good because the red goes up there. But who cares at this point? It's what I am and not what I look like. And excuse me, but go fuck yourself if if that's a consideration.
When do you feel the most beautiful?
I feel beautiful inside, and I'm happy to be who I am. I feel good because I do little things for people directly. I have a handyman, he's a gardener, and he's Guatemalan, has a boy he hasn't seen in 10 years, is in touch every day by telephone. And in the winter, he has no money, so I lend him money, which he religiously gives me back in the spring. And those are little gestures. I'm happy to be able to do that. I can't do big things, but I have been nice, and each time you do something like that, you feel good about yourself.
Do you feel like you've lived your dreams?
I like the idea that it happened to me, that I became a photojournalist. It's all positive. I didn't have big dreams of being the superstar or the super this. If I would have slept with 5 guys at time in life, I would have had a different career. But that wasn't what I was trying to do, you know. I know people who have committed suicide who have everything under the sun. But it's not the answer. You should only have the money you need for your subsistence, and one should end one's life without possessions. Now I have my panties on, but I keep that on.
Yes, you can keep that on.
Okay, 1 second. Okay, here comes the... You see, he didn't do a good job here, but I don't care. This is me, and I don't have any pain, and I don't show them to anybody, really. But I don't feel I have cancer. I'll die of something. And, you know, if you every moment think, oh God, and this is no use. It's going to happen one day. So there are ways of exiting. I have a wonderful doctor who's going to help me. He doesn't tell me. He said part of it is champagne. And then something else, and that lets you go fast. Because I am not going to linger if I have a stroke or whatever. If I die, if I know that it's going to happen, out the door.
When do you feel the most vulnerable? What makes you
I don't feel vulnerable. I don't. Maybe I am, but I'm so primitive that I don't notice. You see, when you give weight to somebody, it can become something else. But if I have a thing going down, I just ride the waves. And I don't think about it, then you haven't got a problem. You only have a problem if you, oh, God, this happened now. Life is too short.
Why in your body is it a good place to be?
I just feel good. Sometimes in the morning I don't feel good, but then by doing something you overcome that. And in my bracket of 88, 87, but I say 88, you become more frail, you walk like a duck to prevent several falls. I'm a fallen woman. I fell several times, luck. You know why I'm so good equipped with my bones? When I was 16, I had dramatic art lessons. The first thing you learn is to fall down. And once you know that, and I was a mountaineer, I made love on a mountain, I was a horsewoman. So when I fall, I'll fall correctly. But luck runs out. My next fall can be it. If something happens, it happens. So all these things, you just take them the way they come. And then you're less conflicted. But if you take each moment and say, oh, this is the end, this is the beginning, it's very, you can't change destiny in some way. I mean, we have a housekeeper and she says, oh, be careful. Well, it's an empty word because things happen in spite of you being perfect, you know.
Yeah, that was,
It's there.
boy, Lisl, that was amazing.